Hi, my name is Deepthi. Today we are going to learn about flaring of pipes and pipe joints. Flaring is the process of creating a flared end on a pipe or pipe joint. This is usually done by heating the end of the pipe and then shaping it with a tool. The flared end helps to create a seal when the pipe is connected to another pipe or fitting. Flaring is used in a variety of industries including plumbing, oil and gas, mining, and steam systems. Come, let's go into the video.
At the end of this demonstration, you will be able to cut a GI pipe using a pipe cutter, remove burrs using a pipe reamer, flare the end pipe, join flare nut with flare fitting and test it. Tools required: adjustable wrench 200 mm, valve key 6 mm, cylinder valve opener, pressure gauge with adapter, cylinder with pressure, water pump pliers, pipe cutter, hacksaw with blade, tri-square, punch tool. Equipment required: flaring block with yoke, flat file smooth 200 mm, pipe vise. Materials required: GI pipe, flare nut to suit the pipe, thread seal tape, soap solution with stirrer, a small quantity of oil. Before starting job, there are some preliminary checks to be made. Those are as follows. Check the material size and its conditions. File and check that end of the pipe must be exactly perpendicular to the pipe axis. Slightly deburr inside and outside edge of the pipe. Clean the pipe throughout before installing a flaring block. Insert and fix the pipe into flaring block selected hole. Note: examine the pipe flaring tool before starting to flare the end of a pipe. Tighten the nuts at each end of the flaring block properly. Position the pipe end to at least 3.3 mm above the top of the flaring block. Note: this distance is calculated as pipe diameter divided by 3, in this case 12 mm divided by 3, is equal to 4.0 mm. Place the yoke, flaring tool, to the flaring block. Note: insert the flaring nut before flaring. Oil the cone and slowly screw it into the end of the pipe. The end of the pipe will be formed into a flare. Note: do not over-tighten the screws. Unscrew and remove the flared pipe from the block. Check the flare end for cracks. Note: because the cone was screwed down too quickly, flare is cracked. Make sure that the flare is in correct size. If any crack or too loose while fitting flare nut, cut off the flare and start again as per above instruction until the flare is in correct size for the flare nut. Next, we are going to make flare joints and test them with flare fittings. Flaring. Brake line pipes, fuel pipelines, air conditioner pipelines are sometimes joined to fittings by making a flared connection. The end of the pipe is opened out to form a cone. Always place the special flare nut on the pipe first before flaring. Examine the pipe flaring tool. Make sure that you understand how it works before starting to flare the end of a pipe. Make sure that the end of the pipe is free of rough edges before flaring. Place the pipe in the tool. Make sure that you have Place the flare nut on the pipe. Choose the correct size hole in the flaring tool to fit the pipe. There are 5 holes to fit different sizes of pipe. If the pipe is 1 by 4 inch, 6 mm in diameter, position the pipe so that the end is at least 2 mm above the top of the flaring block. This distance is calculated as pipe diameter divided by 3. In this case, 6 mm divided by 3 is equal to 2 mm. Tighten the nuts at each end of the flaring block. Fit the yoke to the flaring block. Note: repeat the steps to the various sizes of GI pipe. Joining with flare fittings. Put thread seal tape on the thread. Push back the flare nut and place the flared pipe on the fitting. Then, tighten the flare nut using adjustable wrench or suitable double-end spanner. Tighten the one end of the pipe to the cylinder with the flare nut. Connect a pressure gauge at the other end of the tube with flare nut. Note: do not give more pressure while tightening, since this will spoil flare. Make sure that they should not be loose in the pipe. Observation Table 2. After joining the pipe firmly, open the cylinder valve with the help of valve key or ratchet. Note: the pressure will be shown in the pressure gauge. Then close the cylinder valve. Major leaks will make noise, and that needs the nut to be tightened. If there is no leak, the pressure in the pressure gauge will remain constant. If it decreases, check the joints with soap solution foam. Leak will bubble, then tight the joints. If it stands still, then there is no leak. Now, let's have a look at handling of pipe flaring and cutting tools. Measure the required length of pipe and mark it with chalk. Keep the pipe in the pipe vise and tighten it. Fit the pipe cutter on the GI pipe on the scribed line and tighten the jacking screw so that the cutting wheel is touching the pipe. Note: ensure that the pipe is kept horizontal and parallel to the serrations such that the marking is visible at the top. Rotate 1 or 2 turns to ensure that the cutting wheel is sitting exactly on the scribed line at 90 degrees to the pipe. Rotate the pipe cutter around the pipe. After 2 or 3 turns, use the jacking screw to apply pressure on the cutting wheel. Keep rotating the pipe cutter around the pipe. Increase the pressure to the cutter by repeating the cycle until the pipe is cut through. Support the pipe with your left hand so that the free end of the pipe does not fall. Remove burrs using a pipe reamer. Check that the pipe ends are square. Inside edge of the pipe must be slightly deburred. Outside edge of the pipe must be slightly deburred. With this edge as reference, the pipe is marked for bending. Always use pipe bending fixture for proper bending of the pipe. Clean the pipe thoroughly before installing in the machine. Prepare the pipe end for a flare fitting. Flaring with block and punch tool. Pipe which is cleaned off burrs and bent should be selected. The pipe end is held in the flaring unit. Select the appropriate size of flaring unit to suit the pipe. Sleeve and cap nut should be assembled before flaring. The flaring unit is held in a bench vise with the pipe. Correct length of pipe should be projecting for flaring. Pipe edges should be in line with surface. Using the flaring punch, flare the pipe end. Flaring can also be done by using a compression type flaring tool. Installing a flare fitting. Flare tube is cleaned and the sleeve and cap nut are positioned on the flare. Check the flare angle is suitable to the sleeve angle. Place the flare on the connector end. Confirm the angle is same. Screw the cap nut on the connector thread by hand. Use a suitable spanner and tighten the cap nut until the pipe does not rotate in the joint.
Let's have a recap of what we have learned today. We have learned to cut a GI pipe using a pipe cutter, remove burns using a pipe reamer, flare the end pipe, joint flare nut with flare fitting and test it. Thus, we have learnt about flaring of pipes and pipe joints. Hope you have a clear understanding on this. Do this exercise with the help of your instructor.